Amidst the massive amount of news being released today, we have something that was released that I'm seeing no one talk about, and frankly might be even the most important thing that was released today, even more important than Sonic Movie 3. Today we got brand new footage from Sonic Shadow Generations, the entirety of Kingdom Valley Act 1, as well as pretty much the entirety of the Metal Overlord boss fight. Now for me, Sonic games are way more important than other Sonic media, it always will be that way for me, and believe me, I am hyped for Sonic Movie 3, but this takes priority. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the brand new footage from Sonic Shadow Generations, what I think about it, and how it's going to shape the game in the future. And believe me, I will get to Sonic Movie 3 in a separate video. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Alright, well let's first of all talk about, of course, Kingdom Valley. Now Kingdom Valley is by far my most anticipated zone for this game. I'm very excited for it, considering the fact that Kingdom Valley is one of my favorite levels in Sonic history. And while yes, it is awful that it was placed in Sonic 06, but if I'm going to be honest, level design wise, it's definitely one of the best in the series. It's just unfortunate it was placed into such a buggy game like Sonic 06. But Sonic Shadow Generations finally breathes new life into this beautiful level. So let's just talk about this fantastic level and its brand new recreation. So first of all, Shadow comes in on an eagle at the beginning of the level, which I think is great, and this gimmick will be used more and more throughout the level. We see a massive open path that Shadow has to skate down, and it looks really cool, giving you a nice look at the level. Before, you can actually see our first multiple pathways. After you grind down a rail, you see Shadow homing attacking the rope, and when he stomps down, he actually gets onto a higher path, which sends him in a completely different direction than if you went on the lower path. That's already a brand new pathway. Anyway, as you continue farther down the level, you see more and more open pathways as there is the eagle gimmick being reused. And although the footage cuts off, you can see so many brand new open pathways. All around, you can see it everywhere. Just faster routes, routes with more rings, routes that give you more chaos abilities. It's just fantastic the amount of multiple pathways this level already had. But what's really cool about Kingdom Valley is, like the original, it actually has water sections. But instead of the original being on an awful hoverboard that barely even functions, Shadow now uses Doom Surf. There are now these boost rings that allow Shadow to go faster, as well as him being able to trick while jumping off these ramps, and I think that's really freaking cool. I love the amount of openness you can see here and the amount of multiple pathways you can see on this lake side, and it's just so cool. Like, the amount of open pathways, the amount of different pathways, it's just fantastic. Seeing Shadow also jump down a waterfall is actually fantastic. We also see a very classic section where it definitely reminisces of the original Kingdom Valley. The Shadow rail grinds along the pathway, which is very similar to the intro of Kingdom Valley. We then crash into one of the buildings, just like Kingdom Valley, and it's really cool. We get to see some classic enemies from Sonic 06, which I think is fantastic, before facing off with a Black Arms alien. And in order to defeat him, you have to use Chaos Spear. The cool part is after the guy uses Chaos Spear, he actually uses Doom Blast and launches the enemy up and grabbing some extra rings. And I think that's really cool and exactly what the Doom powers should be used for. Then Shadow is once again dropped into another lake where he has to duke it out with a flying Black Arms creature as it shoots missiles at you that you have to shoot back by using Chaos Spear. And I think that's really cool. These interactive sections where you actually combine the Doom powers with their Chaos abilities is actually just fantastic, and I'm really excited to see what else they can do with that. Then we have a rail guarding section where you have to quickly avoid incoming obstacles, and this rail guarding section lasts quite a bit of time until you crash through yet another building before once again getting back into the regular level design, where you see some actually pretty tight platforming before it cuts off. Then we have yet another classic section where Shadow jumps on an eagle before it drops it off on the very iconic part of Kingdom Valley, which I'm really happy that they brought back, before picking up Chaos abilities and Chaos Control light speeding away. Now this is not something we've seen in Clear, and it looks fantastic. I love the fact that they brought back the light speed dash, but in a much cooler way, if I'm gonna be honest here. Then you're dropped into another Doom Surf section, where you once again have to duke it out with the same type of enemy, shooting its projectiles back at you, but this time with a lot more mines in your place. What the player does next is really cool in my opinion. He Chaos Controls, jumps off Doom Surf, and actually destroys the enemy before Doom blasting him away. Now the camera does cut away at the last second before we see what he actually Doom blasted on, but you can't see though he was aiming for a cluster of enemies located at the top of that section. Then we see another section where Shadow Lightspeed dashes, and this one's actually really unfortunate because the guy skips a massive portion of the level. You can see so much level design right below Shadow as he's just lightspeed dashing across. But then we have one of the most disappointing parts of this level. The Mach Speed section is just not cool in the slightest. I was expecting something really cool considering how in the Space Colony Arc level we had this amazing QTE or something along the lines of that, but no, you just sort of do a couple of mundane platforming sections, quick step, which okay, and then the level just ends off then and there, and that is just extremely disappointing. The Mach Speed section of Kingdom Valley is one of the greatest set pieces in Sonic history, and the fact that it was simply very cut out of nowhere is just really sad to see. I was just hoping for something that was just as cool as the Space Colony Arc part, but unfortunately, we just did not get that. But next we have the Metal Overlord boss, which actually looks really cool. Not only are we doom surfing the entire time, the whole way the boss plays out is actually really cool. Not only are Metal Overlord's attacks really quick, but they're also choreographed really well with Metal Overlord's eyes flashing up before he quickly slashes at you. And I think this is exactly how attacks should be in Sonic games. The game actually prepares you for it, but is very quick for you to react. This is fantastic. Then we have a section where Shadow has to quick step into these floating barrels and floating debris in order to damage Metal Overlord. We have another section where Shadow gets on some rails, which, by the way, those rails are literally from Sonic Heroes, which I think is fantastic, before you can do an attack directly onto his middle section. Then again, we have that section we saw at the trailer where he shoots back some more debris, and yet again, you have another section where Shadow can jump off and damage the middle section, which allows you to do more damage to Metal Overlord. Well, I will say the only thing that I think is a little weird is the background. The background literally looks like Spaceport from Sonic Forces. I know it's supposed to be Final Fortress, but it doesn't look very much like it. But what I do like is that their use of Chaos Control in this boss fight. You can actually use it to attack Metal Overlord, and I think that's, yet again, fantastic. The cutscenes are amazing. Metal Overlord is very expressive. I love this massive whirlwind he does next, which is just so cool. But the only thing that does make me feel, I don't even know how to feel about this, is there's a 2D section next. And I have no problem with 2D sections, I'm gonna be honest. While I do think when there's too many of them in a 3D Sonic game, that's just not good, I will say it seems very slow and monotonous. I do like how you can shoot back Metal Overlord's projectile to damage him, but again, I just think this 2D section looks way too slow and feels more like an auto-scroller. You literally cannot move forwards or backwards in a certain area, and I think it's just really bad. But, you know, there is a part that makes up for it. At the end of the boss fight, we get one of them fantastic QTEs. As Metal Overlord throws one of the giant ships at Shadow, Shadow Chaos Controls, attacks the debris before playing out this fantastic cutscene before he hits all the debris back, and does the cool ass pose before all the debris come crashing down on Metal Overlord. And then the final cutscene is just amazing. Metal Overlord grabs yet another ship, throws it at Shadow, but this time Shadow uses to doom surf up. We can hear a QTE sound, and Shadow just absolutely destroys Metal Overlord as he puts all of his power into one kick, which just annihilates him. And that's just fantastic. This was a fantastic end to this boss fight. Overall, from all that we've seen out of these two little snippets, this is exciting to say the least. I think what we saw here is just fantastic. I would say it is quite unfortunate that the Mach Speed section of Kingdom Valley is so underwhelming. That is like the best part of the level, and unfortunately, I do believe it was butchered quite a bit. It's not bad in any case, but it's just not at the quality I would have expected it to be. But anyway, that's actually it for today's video. Just wanted to go over Kingdom Valley and Metal Overlord, take my opinions on it. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for a Movie 3 video or short coming out tomorrow or maybe today, depending on how I'm feeling. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao!